Hey everybody, Wheels247 here, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Arrakis. Today is the worldwide launch of Dune Awakening, and we're going to jump in and do the first couple hours of gameplay in this little series to help you get started and get past the main beginning area. So the first thing we're going to do is create a character, join the server, and we'll go from there. Alright, now on the server selection, I want to go ahead and point out the fact that you have main servers up here, and then you have sub-servers within that, or channels, whatever you want to call them. Now, it's important to understand if you want to play with your friends, you have to be on the same main server, okay? Which are these up here. The sub-servers, it's good to get on the same one as your friend, but you might not be able to do that. So, if not, if you join separate sub-servers, then I do understand that you can visit each other and work together somewhat, although it's not the same of you both being on the same sub-server. So if you want to play together at all, you do have to be on the same main server though. Alright, so let's go ahead and select this one and we'll go from there. Okay, now I am going to skip most of the cutscenes. You can go through that if you want to and learn about the game that way. That's fine. I'll leave that all up to you. We are on the character creation screen. I'm going to go ahead and create a character and then we'll be right back when the next thing pops up. Okay, so I've finished setting up my character and I've put my name in. Now we'll hit enter game. Okay, so I'm not going to skip the tutorial sequence, although I am going to skip a lot of the cutscenes within the sequence. There's a few parts that it would be good for me to talk through. So we're also going to keep our research menu locked and let the game unlock it for us. Alright, so accept and start game. Okay, so here we're going to pick out where we were born, which we're going to pick the first one.
A toxic place, and the Harkonnens prefer it that way. Profit above all. The Order of the Imperium is rooted in the Farfaluches. A place for every man, and every man in his place.
Alright, so we're going to pick bondsman.
Where is your place?
So I'll let her finish talking before I do some of these.
There is always work. You had a mentor in your youth, trained by one of the schools. Who was your mentor?
Okay, so here's where you're going to pick your starting class. Now, you can pick multiple classes throughout the game and get all of them eventually, although you won't be able to get every skill in every tree. All right, now, we're going to start out as the Bene Gesserit. Okay, so the Swordmaster, Bene Gesserit, and Mentat are also a little bit later game where you actually meet a trainer. Alright, so, but if we pick it at the beginning, we can start using the skill tree right at the beginning, and the trooper we can actually pick up within a few minutes of getting into the game, right at the very beginning area. So it wouldn't make sense to pick trooper because we're going to get that anyway. So there are 4 of them listed here. There is a 5th one called the Planetologist, and we'll be unlocking that in the starting area as well within a couple hours. Alright, so we're going to pick Bene Gesserit.
Yes,
I'll explain
I've
why
heard of
later.
our sisters giving training outside of the chapter house. It is frowned upon.
Okay, so I've skipped the opening scene, and now we're here in the bottom of this tunnel, and we'll work our way out of this, and we'll skip a couple other parts too, but let's go ahead and talk through this. Okay, we start out injured here at the bottom of this rock formation in the desert. So let's go ahead and walk our way out. So you can sprint. Okay, up here we want to run up to this guy, grab this thing, which will get us started. Alright, so you do have the hint here telling us to open up our crafting screen. If you open up the inventory screen, you're basically going to go to all the different functions. So I would just use your inventory hotkey, but there's a hotkey for crafting. Obviously, they want us to craft a scrap knife, so we'll go ahead and do that. It's going to automatically place it in the number 1 slot of our hotkeys. Okay, so we have our clothing, and then we have our loadout, which all these different things will show up on the bottom of your screen there on keys 1 through 8. Okay, so we need the knife in order to go further, because we've got to cut this thing called the moisture seal, which you do by just lunging into. And then we have these plants. Now these plants are going to be very important because this is how we drink water. So you want to just lean down and go ahead and drink. Now you can only get to fill up your bar about a third of the way by bending down and drinking out of the flowers directly. So there is a way how you can fill it up further, but by bending down there on the ground, you can only get a third of the way, so don't be alarmed by that. Also, understand there's an icon on the left-hand side of the screen that says that we're inside of a protected area, which is the little arrow and a triangle under it right above the water icon. So we're going to keep running. We're going to get up to here. We've got to do the same thing. Go ahead and cut through. Now, we're still injured. And we're hurt even worse because I jumped down. But that's fine. So we're going to collect these plants. And now we need to craft some bandages. So we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and do all 5 of them. Okay, they're going to be in their number 2 slot. We're going to go ahead and use those just by hitting number 2, get our health up. And then we'll have a stamina bar, which pops up in green right above the health bar. Okay, so now we can climb. You can't climb until you craft the bandages, because you got to have stamina to climb. And as you're climbing, the stamina will go down, so you'll fall back down if your stamina runs out. So again, you're going to see these plants everywhere where you drink water. Water is going to become very, very important. Okay, so we can now climb. So we'll keep doing that. Now, incidentally, if you do get up climbing on a wall, or you can actually climb on the ceiling until your stamina runs out, if you get up there and you want to come back down again, all you have to do is hit the left control and you'll drop down. So left control will let go of whatever you're holding on to when you're climbing. All right, so go ahead and get to the edge here, and then, like I said, we'll have some cutscenes we'll go through.
Twin comets in the sky, a rebirth from fire and death, and a Sardaukar net closing around us. Your survival heralds interesting times, Off-Worlder.
All right, so this guy's going to be talking to us throughout the game, or at least at the beginning. And so we'll go ahead and get through this.
There's a way through the barricade. We're going to need one of their ornithopters. Their protocol is to remain aloft and kill anything. That's where you come in. If you can slip back onto the Proteus and locate the command module, you can activate the captain's personal emergency transmitter. He's a noble. They're not allowed to let him die.
Okay, so we need to go find
Take
him.
this Communinet transceiver. It's essential for planetary communication. Now go, and be quick.
All right, let's get to the captain. Now, because we're in a desert world, the sun is very hot.
Stick to the shadows, Off-Worlder.
So we notice
The
there
heat
on
of the sun is
right,
deadly
it
to the
talks about
unprepared.
sunstroke. So you'll have a little gauge on your screen that tells you if you're getting too much sun. When it gets to red, you need to get in the shade. Otherwise, you're going to start depleting your health, and you will end up dying eventually. Although it's not immediately, but it will happen fairly quick. So we're going to run down here. So if you find yourself overheating, just get in the shade. Someone did point out to me that it's funny that the heat gives you heat stroke, and yet the flames don't make you hot. But that's all right. Let's dismiss that square. We're going to run down here, grab something off of this body up here.
The guards have sealed themselves inside.
This guy
Search
right
the
here.
prisoners for a cut array.
We want to go ahead and take this
Off-Worlder,
stuff.
be careful.
All right, the
The cut array is primarily a mining tool, Off-Worlder. You'll need it for harvesting resources. Using it to cut open ships is an added benefit.
Okay, so we'll get to take a drink. We usually drink often. I'll have to wait for them to talk sometimes, so I'm not talking over the game. But anyway, what we do, we got our cutter array on us, number 3, and we want to go ahead and scan by right-clicking, and then go ahead and go along the blue line that shows up on any item that you're scanning. So now the starter cutter array only does basic things, but it will cut the granite stones. That's what these are, granite. These are used to build your base. So when you're building structures, walls, and foundations, you'll need the granite. Granite is lighter than, say, copper, which is your starting resource as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go on in.
The captain's room is blocked by a pentashield. You'll need a pentashield key to pass through. See if there's another way forward.
Okay, so we cannot enter this area here because we have a red triangle there. We need to find a key. So we're going to run down here. Oh, we have a door, so we're going to go ahead and scan it. Now you'll notice if you can scan it, you're going to have a little scanner icon up there, so you know whether you can break it with the cutter.
Ready your weapon, Off-Worlder. The guards won't hesitate. Neither should you.
All right, we're going to go through some combat mechanics here. We have your basic slash, light attack. Okay. All right, now we have another attack, which is our defense here. We got a parry.
Parry your opponents just as their strikes will hit you. This should stagger them, giving you a window of opportunity.
It's a little bit hard to do the staggering thing. There's the first one.
I got you.
So once they hit you, you get staggered for a second, and then you got to respond. Okay, let's get through this berry thing. There we go.
Found you.
Now I have the ability to dash also, like they're doing. Now that turns green, now we can go through there. Okay, so now we have go in a direction and dash in order to get through it quick is what they're trying to tell us to do. We'll continue like that. Now you get to these little water drinking stations. This will allow to fill up past the 1/3 full because we're actually drinking from a thing other than getting them from plants. So you notice that our water gauge went up a little bit. So you can only go 1/3 of the way up from the plant. Alright, so we're going to go down here now. And this is already open, so we're going to jump down here. Continue with combat. Okay, so we have a situation here where now our enemy has a shield. So we need to actually, when we stab him, we want to hold the left mouse button for a second to get through their shield. A basic slash will not get through the shield.
A swift attack can force your enemy off balance, but only a slow blade penetrates a shield.
So you can knock them off balance by quick hitting them, but then you gotta stab and hold in order to get that. Okay, so the next area is now open.
That's the pentashield key. Once you equip it, you can pass through the shield. Get to the captain and activate that transmitter. I'll be there soon.
These are going to be all over the place in different places where you end up going. So let's dismiss that. Let's pick that up. And now the icons turn green. Now we can get in here and do what we have to do. Let's go to the captain. By the way, you just want to tap the button and not hold it down to activate these things. And we have a cutscene.
Get up, Off-Worlder. I couldn't wait for you. But now you need to run. The sandworm is coming. Run! Now!
Okay, we're running. Get away! Oh, there's the sandworm. Wow. Hello. see the little gauge down there on the screen? That's the sandworm, and whether he's alerted to your presence or not.
Off-worlder. Catch your breath. When the Thopter went down, the storm took us far off course. My leg is bad. I need to lay low and treat it before it gets worse. But fear not, Off-worlder. Noctua can cover the ground between us with little effort. She will be my eye in the sky so I can continue to offer my sage advice and keep you on this side of the grave. Figure out how to craft yourself some clothing. That Mauler outfit won't cut it out here.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and you can set up a setting where it fades your HUD and anything that's inactive. And I may want to change that later. I'm going to try that, but we'll go ahead and dismiss that. If you hit T, it'll show you what time of day it is up at the top, and it will give you the heat level and so forth like that. Okay, so we want 15 plant fibers. So we may actually have that already. Okay, so right here is an enemy camp. There will be a person there, and you want to avoid those right at the beginning here because they'll kill you. But because we don't, well, you could kill them, you could get them with the knife. You could, they're not that hard to kill. But all right, so first of all, let's go ahead and see if we can get some fiber. We got plant fiber, and we want to find some shade. Okay, so we got new research. We're gonna try to get some something to drink right here real quick. Okay, and actually we don't need it. We're full. I forgot. So right now it's important to kind of get moving while you're still full. Although I'm probably not going to do that because I'm trying to talk through it here at the very beginning. So I'm not going to be going as quick as maybe you could go. But all right, so right here we've got a research. You have a whole set of research items that you can do. I usually just hit inventory and then go ahead and click on the tab at the top. But the first thing we want to do is research makeshift clothing. So we got that covered. And then you have your crafting area, which is here. You have different categories, and then you have like suggested or essential category, it calls it, up here at the top. So we want to go ahead and make all the items here, the makeshift clothing. Okay, and as that creates it, it'll be over here in our backpack, and then you just want to go ahead and drag it over here to your character. A little bit better armor than what it is we're wearing now.
The War of Assassins has left debris scattered all over this sector. Salvage metal from the wreckage with your cutter and use it to make a Mauler pistol and darts. Don't let the Imperial disdain for ranged weapons lead you astray. Very few people are foolhardy enough to use shields this deep in the sands, and that is to your advantage.
Right, so when you have a shield, it does alert the worm quicker. All right, so we're gonna go and get all this metal that's laying around. Now over here is metal, but then you also see a box right there. That box is actually power capsules, fuel cells, that's what they're called. So I can highlight that. That doesn't count as debris, but just this metal is what counts. Some of it you can just go pick it up. Again, it's the sun's hot, so we don't have much time, but go ahead and get enough of this. All right, let's get over here to the shade. Okay. All right, so now here we are in the shade where we could talk through it. Okay, so we want to go back to our research again. I just hit inventory and then click research at the top. That's the way I do it. Okay, and then we're going to research the gun and the bullets, which are light darts for your pistol. All right, so we want to go ahead and do that. Now we want to go ahead and craft it. We're going to go ahead and craft all for the light darts. As we're collecting more plants, we need to put more into bandages as we go here. Okay, so we do have a skill point. Okay, we'll look at that here in a minute. Okay, so we need to make what's called a respawn beacon. So we're going to go ahead first and research it. Then we're going to go ahead and craft it. I don't have enough salvage metal, so let's go get 20 more. Now, from time to time, you will see these wrecks here throughout the world. You can use your cutter array and just kind of scan the whole thing. Look for the little blue line. It'll tell you what's first. And then you have to break it in parts, but you do get a lot from these. Now, these are temporary a lot. Sometimes you'll hear a loud click, something has crashed. The larger ones are a bit different, but for the small one, that's fine. Alright, now I can probably craft a respawn beacon. Now the sun's gone down, it's not much of a problem. But I want to make sure I'm not near an enemy camp where I'm going to get shot while I'm doing this. Okay, so we're going to craft a respawn beacon. If I die, it will give me an option to respawn back at this beacon. Alright, so we're going to place it. But first of all, we need to get our bearings now on the world, where we are. If I pull up M for my map, I'll kind of see here I am in the world. Now, this is the South Haga Basin right here. And you can start at various locations. So your friend might start way over here, and you over here, okay? But as we look around, there's some things that we can see off in the horizon to help give us an indication of where we are. So we want to be looking probably north here. But we're going to go around the corner. I'm looking for the tower. All right, now you see right in front of us is the tower. Now, this is actually not too bad of a spawn location, although we are going to be building our base there at the tower. We're going to build it off to the right, and because we're going to be spending a lot of time over on that side. All right, so what we're going to do while it's nighttime is we're going to make our way over there. But first, we need to talk about skill points. So now skill points are located here. Now, because we chose the Bene Gesserit, our first ability that we already had was the ability to compel, which basically stops the enemy in their track for a second and freezes them, gives you a chance to attack them, okay? The next thing that we want to do is we want to get the Bindu Sprint, okay? So basically highlight it, hold down your space bar, and now we have the sprint ability. Now, abilities are here. Initially, you unlock 2 out of 3. Eventually, you'll unlock the third one. When you do the one of the trials, you'll get 3. Right now, we're going to be using 2. Also, later on, there's techniques that you can have that need to be equipped here. And there's some abilities that are passive, which just happen automatically, and you don't have to hotkey them or do anything to make them work. Okay? So, the Bindu Sprint. This is why we chose the Bene Gesserit. Okay? So now, as we cross the flat sand, we got to be careful about the worm. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to sprint over there. So a lot of times I'll put an icon where I'm headed, and we're going to head out over here. We're going to hotkey. We're going to do the button to sprint faster. Okay, so now we have the worm warning telling us how close they are, and we made it across. Okay, so we're going to keep going to get up to that tower. So really, once you get past doing the respawn beacon, then head for this tower. If you do it at night, obviously you won't get as hot. But okay, now right here, you notice that area in front of us is a POI. Now it's not there yet. Now that POI is actually, there's another one here. You can see scavenger camps, you can see caves, and then you'll have a POI with 3 little houses on it. Those are where you get your intel to unlock stuff in your skill tree. So when we're researching here in the research, not the skill tree, the research tree. All right, you see over here intel on the top right hand side. Once you have enough intel, then you can unlock these things. They cost a certain amount of intel. But intel is how you unlock everything in your research tree. unless it unlocks it automatically in the tutorial for you. Okay, so we're going to craft the respawn beacon now because we have enough. Okay, so anyway, now that we've covered that, now the tower, again, I believe it's right in front of us there. We're not going to get tied up with that POI right now. We're going to run up here and we're going to get to the tower the tower location, which is called the Griffin Trade Post. So let's grab a few more plants here. Make sure our water's topped off. It is. Well, we're above 1/3. That's as far as we can drink here. Now, looking back at these, you'll see a little sickle icon. Once we get the sickle, we'll be able to harvest water. Okay, we'll do the little sprint. Again, to speed up. It uses stamina, but it is a really good tool to get us around in early game. All right, so we're going to run up here. These little fuel cells, we'll kind of pick those up as we go, but there's no need to go out of your way to do it. Where's the tower? I think it's right up here, right? Yep. I think we're on the next rock face over, but Alright, so, man, I love the graphics in this game, the realism. There's a lot of things that are really cool about this game. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that skill box there. Okay, now right here is a building that you'll be able to park your vehicle in and to be safe. Now, one thing that the game does offer is that you get sandstorms that will destroy everything if it hits, if you're not protected. So even vehicles. So if you don't store the vehicle with you, which we'll get to at a later time, then you can go to a building or any type of enclosure like this, and you see the icon next to us there, above our water thing that I pointed out earlier, tells us if we're enclosed or not. Once we get out away from it, it says unsheltered, and now that we're in a building, it's now sheltered, okay? So we're going to run up here into the trade location. And there's lots of things we're going to end up doing here, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to that guy there. He is the trooper trainer, which will get us into the skill tree open once we complete a task. All right, now running through here, you have a place where you accept contracts. You have a pilot, which could take you between locations, within major locations, within like different trade locations, not everywhere on the map, but just certain places. And then you have a trader here, and that's it. Okay, so now if you walk out here, you notice right in front of us is that pillar there, rock pillar with a giant square on it. That is in the next area over, so we will not be going there in the beginning area. Eventually we'll craft a bike and we'll get over there. So that is another landmark that you're going to be able to see pretty much from anywhere in the South Haga Basin. Now you notice at night you see these flying ship over here. That ship right there is looking for people. If it finds you, it'll freeze you for a second, and then some troopers will come down and try to kill you. They're not that hard to kill, but they will come after you, and they could kill you if you weren't watching out. Now, as far as where to build your base at, that's what we're going to look at next. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here, and we're going to go to the trooper trainer, and we're going to accept the quest from him and go through that.
Look at the way you stand. No discipline, no confidence. I've killed 1,000 like you on the battlefield. Well, a little respect with some good sense in the proportion. There's something here I can work with. But don't despair. Salvation is at hand. I can show you how to fight. I can teach you how to kill. And it will only cost you a little pain.
Okay, one
Then listen closely. During the Battle of Arrakeen, I was drugged and kept out of it by a group of conspirators. For the sake of my honor, I've spent the last 8 years tracking down and destroying them, one by one. Who knows how the Battle of Arrakeen would have turned out if I hadn't been kept away. And now, track them down, kill them. My thirst for vengeance has been... Do this for me.
So we're going to accept that
I'll
contract.
set your feet on the path of the trooper.
All right, so once I'm done with that, I'll come back and see him, and he will open up the skill tree to the trooper. So I'm going to go ahead and interrupt the video footage right there, and we're going to go ahead and continue with a second episode from leaving the trade base to setting up your own base. So that's a good spot because it's about 30 minutes long right there. So anyway, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Consider a sub if you like the video. Make sure you share it with someone else. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.